Hi everyone, and welcome back to Easy Cooking with Linda B. Today I'm making a special recipe because tomorrow night Bob and I will be attending our former neighborhood's progressive dinner. There will be 3 houses hosting, one for appetizers, one for dinner, and one for desserts. I will be participating in the appetizer and dinner round. Now, this recipe I'm going to share with you is a recipe that I first saw on Food Network with Ina Garten Barefoot Contessa. I will be making her Ribollita soup and showing you how to put it all together. It is an awesome soup. Can't wait to show you. Okay, now to put this soup together, these are the things that you will need. You will need celery, carrots, and the recipe calls for onion, but I'm using leeks instead. Also, it calls for whole plum tomatoes, garlic, also Savoy cabbage, and kale. And I'm using Great Northern beans. Now, these were from the bag, which I had to soak them overnight and cook them today. And I'm reserving the liquid, which is over on my counter. You'll see when I use that, okay? And also we're going to use chicken broth. I'm using low sodium so I can control the amount of salt. And we will be adding basil. And then of course another key ingredient is going to be red pepper flakes. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to put it all together. All right, now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my oil to my low heated pan right now. And I'm going to probably put in maybe about a tablespoon, maybe a little bit more. And I want to get that heated up. Sorry, I'm running out of space here. Now, because there's going to be about 20 people at this event tomorrow night, I've doubled this recipe. You definitely want to scale it down if it's just for home. All right, so while this is heating up, I'm going to add garlic. Here I have, I think it's like 5 cloves of garlic. I have them minced. Oh yes, it's sizzling. Okay, I want to keep this moving again. We know about garlic and we don't want it to burn. Okay, now with that, I will add the carrot, celery, and leeks. Okay, give this a good stir. I'm going to put a little bit of kosher salt, actually a couple pinches, so I have low sodium chicken broth. I will add some pepper, and now pepper flakes. Now I'm going to go a little at a time. This is fresh, we just bought it yesterday. Take out with a small amount because I don't want anyone to burn their mouth. And then as I taste it as I go along, if I need to add more, I will. So we're going to let these sweat out and cook for anywhere from 7 to 10 minutes or more. And then I'll show you what we do next. All right, the vegetables have been cooking for approximately 15 minutes. And as you can see, they're really cooking down nicely. Now this recipe does call for pancetta or bacon, but because of the dietary needs of others, I cannot include them in this soup. So I will eliminate that. I'll cook the bacon up separately for those who do want to have it in their soup. So at this point, now that the vegetables have sweated out, in this container I have the 2 28-ounce cans of whole plum tomatoes that I've slightly chopped. And I'm going to pour in here. And then with tomato, again, I like to add salt. We'll stop right there. And I want to bring this to a higher temp on medium. Stir this in. I want to get them to start cooking down. Okay, and then I will show you what the next step is. So now we're going to check our tomatoes. I've had them cooking for about 5 minutes. As you can see, it is coming to a boil. Actually more like a rolling simmer. Look. So at this point, now that I got this hot, I'm going to take the cabbage, which is Savoy cabbage, and kale, and I will put them in here. Oops. All right. Give this a really good stir. Cover it. All right, so now I am going to add my basil in here. I cut it up. And now I will stir everything together because I need for the cabbage and the kale to cook down. So this process will probably take another 15 minutes, I would say, at this point. And then we'll go on to the next part. While the cabbage and kale and tomatoes are cooking down, the recipe calls for taking your beans, not all of them, take about half of them, put them in your blender or food processor, whatever you want to use, and we're going to blend these with some of the reserved liquid that I cooked these beans in. Like I have a cup of that here. I'm not quite sure if I will need all of it at this point. The reason why we blend up the beans is so that we can help the sauce or the soup thicken. So I'm going to start out with this. My first time using my Ninja. There we go. I think it's locked in place. Move that off. It's very quick. And that looks like the right consistency that I'm looking for. Just like that. As you can see, some of the beans are just broken up, but that's perfect for the soup. Okay, and I'll show you what we do next. Oh, this is doing beautiful. As you can see, the cabbage has cooked down, but it does take a little bit of time for the kale to really soften up. So be patient, it's worth the time. So I will take now the pureed beans, put that in my soup. Okay, mix that in. This will give it wonderful flavor. Also, I'm going to take my whole beans. I don't believe I'm going to use all of them. I feel like it'll be too much for the soup. So we'll start out with about that much, I would say. Mix this in. Now I'm going to elevate my heat again because now I will add my chicken stock. Okay, and then what I will do once I add all my stock is I will let this come to a boil and I will cook this all together for about 20 minutes and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, now the soup has been simmering for actually 30 plus minutes. I want to let it go a little longer so the tomatoes start to break down. As you can see, they're quite chunky. And it is fortified with vegetables. At this point, you could stop, and this goes with my theme of low carb, healthy eating diet. But the recipe calls for finishing the soup off, which I'm sorry I can't do now because this is for tomorrow night, but you could get a visual of it, is I have bought some sourdough bread, and what I will do is take the crust off, cut it into small pieces. 10 minutes before we serve this tomorrow night, we're going to put the bread in there, stir it in, and let it cook for a while. And then after scooping out the soup, I have a block of Parmesan cheese. We're going to do freshly grated Parmesan cheese with a little drizzle of oil, and there is the soup. It's special to me because the first time I made this was in 2011 for our very first progressive, right after Bob and I purchased our home. So that's why I call this a special soup. So now I'm going to do a taste test. I'm only going to take a little bit here. This soup is so good. I hope you have an opportunity to try it one of these days. Here we go. Oh my gosh. Oh, and I wanted to tell you too, that while this was cooking, we went ahead and added more salt, more pepper, and one other thing we added too was Tabasco sauce. That really elevates the flavor, brings a little bit of a kick, a background note. It's just perfect. I hope you enjoyed watching me make this beautiful soup, this Ribollita soup. And if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, please do so. Give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment. I want to thank you very much. Also, remember, enjoy life and never stop learning. Bye now.